Scaling is just a function of solving two problems. The two problems you need to solve if you want to scale are:
you asked me all of your questions as it pertains to short-term rentals, getting into your first or next rental property, how to scale, how to find partnerships, how to invest internationally, and everything in between. But there's a problem, and that problem is that I don't have a voice to do today's video, which is why I'm bringing in my good friends who happen to be the best and brightest minds in the world of real estate, aka the BiggerPockets crew. And yes, I am winded because we're in the mountains, but I promise you, if you stick around until the end of the video, it's gonna change your real estate career for the better. And it's all going down on today's episode of Raw Built.
What's up, everybody? I'm Henry Washington, real estate investor out of Northwest Arkansas. I've been doing this since 2017. I have about 120 rental units, about $5.7 million in debt, but I got a lot of equity to help me cover that. So how do you scale after your second property? Scaling is just a function of solving two problems. The two problems you need to solve if you want to scale are for deal flow and money flow. If you don't have deals to buy, it doesn't matter how much money you have. And if you don't have money, you can't buy any of the deals that you find. So if you can get really good at solving the deal flow problem, some people do it off market, some people do it on market, some people do it with agents. There's a ton of different ways. Pick a way that you can fund appropriately, either with your time or your money, and stick to it until it produces results. Real estate's not magic. It's been working forever. If you do it, it'll work. The second thing you have to solve is the money flow. There's a whole bunch of different ways you can solve the money flow problem. The best way to solve the money flow problem is to go out and get a loan from a bank to cover the majority of your purchase, and then raise private money to cover the down payment, or bring in a partner who has money and wants to do deals but doesn't have time. You're only going to get 50% of the deal that way, but 50% of a good deal is better than 0% of no deal. So those are the two best ways that you can solve the money problem fairly quickly.
That's a very good answer. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ashley Kerr. I invest with 3 other partners, and we have approximately 40 units, but who cares about 40 units? I am here today because I am sponsored by Henry Washington. Check out his apparel line. Okay, so you're thinking about getting started in real estate and you don't know what to do, but I'm here to help you just rip off the Band-Aid. Some of the action items that you can do is, first, think about why you aren't getting started. Actually think about the fear. So usually there's 4 different puzzle pieces. Is you don't have the money, so you're not getting started. You don't have the time, so you're not getting started. You don't have the experience or the knowledge, so you're not getting started. And then you're just afraid. You have fear. So figure out what that puzzle pieces that you're missing, and maybe you need to go out and find a partner. But you are never ever going to get anywhere if you don't take action. Don't wait to time the market. You need to take action now, because if you wait 10 years, you're just going to be missing out on opportunity. So think about what the reason is, what that worst case scenario is. So when I first got started, I thought the roof was going to fly off. I thought the tenants were going to sue me in the first day. So I got as much insurance as I could on the property so that if any of those things happened, I was covered. And here I go. I bought my first property and I thought, okay, I know how to take care of my worst case scenario. So write it down, make out a plan for all of your fears, and then take that action and jump into your first deal.
Hey, I'm Kathy Fedke. I'm a co-founder of Real Wealth, where we've been helping people buy investment properties across the nation. And I've made so many mistakes over the years. It's why I love to tell people what not to do and not follow some of the things that I did that were hard. One of the biggest mistakes that a real estate investor can make going into 2024 is, I would say, in multifamily and in other commercial products, because I don't think that commercial real estate has found its floor yet. It's still kind of in a free fall, because it's really hard for cap rates to be lower than the interest rate, and that's what we're seeing today. So be careful. A lot of people are still going after it, and that's fine because it is discounted. It's really discounted from where it was a year ago, but it could go a little bit further. So just make sure there's plenty of margin in there. Make sure that if you're buying any kind of multifamily, and I do mean 5 units or more, that you're not counting on rents going up substantially, because that may not happen. In fact, likely won't, because there's a lot of new supply coming on as well. So just be careful. There's still great deals out there. Just make sure you're getting really, 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 really good deals.
Hey, I'm David Green. I host the BiggerPockets podcast with Rob. I have $50 million worth of real estate across the United States, and I invest in traditional real estate, short-term rentals, some apartment complexes, and the occasional house flip here or there. I also own some businesses. Here's how I think you should look about risk. When you're trying to scale a portfolio, maybe you're at 3 or 4 properties in. There's always going to be risk, and if there's one thing that you're guaranteed of in real estate, it's that at some point you are going to lose money. Your tenant's going to trash your house, you're going to have vacancy, the city's going to get involved, things outside of your control control can happen. And that doesn't even include the construction stuff that can go wrong with properties. But you need to have something that will offset that risk. So if you're a cash flow investor, what happens if your cash flow goes away? Do you have a business or a side hustle or income in some other area that can offset that? Are you a business owner? How do you offset risk there? Well, maybe owning real estate can help. Maybe you have a portfolio that puts off a lot of cash flow, but it's in areas where it's not growing that much. You can offset the risk of missing out on wealth building by buying other real estate in areas that are going to appreciate more. Think about having a well-balanced portfolio. Some of your properties are long-term plays, some of them are short-term plays. Some of them take a lot of your attention, and other ones you don't have to think about as much. But right around the point that you hit that third or fourth property, you need to be thinking about what you can do to increase your income and keep your expenses low, because you're not going to get wealthy from just having 3 or 4 properties unless you wait 40 years. You're going to get wealthy from having a lot of them, which means you need a sustainable, repeatable system. That can only happen if you keep your expenses low and you continue to make income.
Okay, and then part 2 to this question, who's the greatest real estate YouTuber of all time?
The greatest real estate YouTuber of all time. I'd say that is still something that's a little bit up for debate. Kind of like who's better, Jordan, Kobe, LeBron. People like to argue about this. Rob Abasolo would definitely throw his name in the hat, but he wears silly hats. And so I don't even want to pull a name out of that hat because it's a fedora or a silly cowboy hat.
Okay, that'll do. You're good. Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Mindy Jensen, and I am the host of the BiggerPockets Money Podcast. And my portfolio is actually rather small because my main method of investing in real estate is the live-in flip. Foreshadowing. So what do I think is the best way to get started investing in real estate in 2024? The live-in flip. Why? Because you need a place to live. Why live in perfection when you can live in kind of a dump that you fix up over time? How much time are you asking? 2 years. The IRS has this super sweet rule where if you live in a property for 2 of the last 5 years and own the property for 2 of the last 5 years, you pay 0 capital gains taxes. Up to $250,000 per person on title. So if you're single, $250,000. If you're married, $500,000 of pure tax-free capital gains. So, do you need a place to live? Yes. Do you have the ability to live in a construction zone? Yeah, you do, because I've done it 10 times. You absolutely have the ability. And do you want to pay taxes? No? Live-in flipping is for you.
All right, if you're entering your first flip, one of the most important things you need to be worrying about is your construction timeline and your construction budget. You also need to be entering into a contract with your contractor that has the timeline and budget outlined. You need to have milestones along the way so that you're only paying for the work that's completed and you're not paying for things that aren't done yet, so they can't go take that money and spend it on other jobs. And then you need to have checkpoints along the way and dates assigned to those so that you can show up, make sure the work is done, and that you are actually getting the results in the time frame that you need, because going over budget and over cost is the quickest way to erode your profits.
If you're looking to invest internationally in a short-term rental, here's a couple tips. The first thing that I would do if I was buying international is find a developer that you really know and trust, and someone who really knows the area. Because as much as you might visit it, as much as you might go out there, a local will always know best. So if you can find someone who's invested in the area already or has a good proven track record of investing or building in the area, that will always help you really get to know where you're investing. So just don't be intimidated by foreign investment. I know it can be a little scary. You might not know the laws and regulations and it feels like a very foreign thing, but it's honestly pretty similar, almost the same exact process. So just don't be intimidated. I would always recommend, if you can, going out and seeing the area that you're investing in, seeing all the growth firsthand, getting to know the area, and kind of seeing the way of life out there really is what kind of makes you realize how good of an investment it can be. And then I always recommend getting a CPA or a lawyer or both who speaks the language and can break down all the documents for you, make it really easy to understand, and just make sure that you're completely risk-free and know what you're getting yourself into.
And after many days, I finally have my voice back. And that concludes today's episode of Rob Built. I hope you learned something from my friends over at BP. Now, as for me, I'm about to go get a little procedure done, if you know what I mean. I'll catch you on the next episode of Rob Built. Bye.